And we welcome back to the broadcast table Trevor O'Connor. Thank you, Yusuf Zalal, for joining us here. Yusuf politely decided to recuse himself from these last couple of bouts, and it is with good reason, folks. Just so you know that he didn't just choose that he wanted to take himself out. It's because he was once a trainer of Alexis Apodaca and a training partner of Josh Grimm, so he didn't want to have any sort of bias here on the broadcast table. So said, Trevor, it's your turn to come back.
That's the reason I was allowed back.
He said, I'm going to the bullpen. I'm bringing in Southpaw.
So really, if he hadn't been training partners or a coach of, I would still be in the bullpen. They wouldn't even got me to warm up.
It's Yusuf's world. We're just living in it.
I guess. When you're pretty like that, anything can happen.
I just always have to tease him. I said, that's what top 10 money gets you, huh?
Hey. He's got to be using that beard cream.
Something.
That thing's shiny. Caleb Crump. And V over there. That's a big corner.
Yep. And this is a styles make matchups type of I guess rundown on paper, if you will. I use the phrase always styles make fights. Obviously, not fight styles makes the match. Part of what makes Alexis such a good athlete in the combat sports world is when she's fighting. Trevor, part of what makes her so special is she is a psycho. And I say that with the most love and respect. I mean, she is someone who I have loved seeing in the training room for years when she was a factory before she went over to high altitude. When she fights in the corner, it's like she's waiting for her food at a restaurant. She's a serial killer.
She's just sitting there.
And she'll sit there trading punches with a giant smile on her face. But this being that it is a specialist matchup where you remove that element of violence and aggression, I'm interested to see how she does against Katie, who is an extremely decorated jiu-jitsu specialist with lots of hardware to her resume.
Yes, sir. She has been a gamer for as long as I can remember, and never backs down from entering the tough tournament or the tough competition, and really handles her business.
So what you're saying is she follows Donald Rosenau's philosophy.
Which philosophy is this?
Donald cut the promo after his matchup a couple ago to all you pussies. Stop ducking the tough matchups out there.
Yes. I was laughing so hard. Here we go.
And a furious pace right away to start.
As always expected from the women in the jiu-jitsu cage, there's no feeling out process. It's hate from the gate.
Certainly. And some of the way that Alexis is, sometimes I think
she's so strong.
Just need a little bit to kind of charge her up and get her like, okay, we're in a scrap, and then it's like the fire goes off.
Did you see her just bully out of an arm drag?
Yes. And this is where I see that she may be able to work this matchup to her advantage in that she does have that MMA fighting experience, working off of the wall, cage wrestling a considerable amount, and a large portion of her training throughout her MMA career has been with men. So I think sometimes when having to deal with wrestling off of the wall or having to deal with some of these grip positions, if you will.
Correct.
That serves as an advantage.
She's not going to feel like she's the weak link. She's not going to feel overpowered in any way because she's been in danger with people who were twice her size or twice her strength.
Correct.
For most of her career.
She is going to have to worry about the technical acumen and effective precision that her opponent in Katie brings because Katie's already working for attacks, trying to forage for that arm right away.
And that's what they say about jiu-jitsu. It is the great equalizer. I mean, they say that strength doesn't matter, size doesn't matter. I mean, to an extent.
That's the biggest lie that I've ever heard when you have equal.
When you have each of them being technically very, very, very skilled, strength comes into play.
Yes.
Strength definitely comes into play.
Yeah, that's always a misnomer that sometimes when people come into the gym brand new, they're like, well, I didn't thought that strength didn't matter. Well, no, too, is like in certain situations may strength and conditioning not be a factor. No, but however,
if you walk in off the street and you're very strong
and you have no technique
and you bump into that gristly old brown belt, strength doesn't matter.
Right.
At that point, your strength is more than likely hurting you.
Right.
But now you get that super strong kid to the brown belt level, and that's where it changes.
And even by newer standards, and it's like Yusuf was speaking about when he was on the call, some of these newer, big, springy, athletic young kids, give that guy just a blue belt in some instances now, and you have your Nicky Rod types of the world.
Yeah, it's such danger all the time.
Who they may just not have had the time and competition to be able to have ranked up, but they can compete with some of those high-level guys.
But they don't have the bias of understanding when they're in danger. They're strong, fast, athletic, and they have enough technique that danger really it doesn't enter the scenario in their brain.
Right.
So going into a tough spot to get where you want to be when you're young, fast, and very strong is, that's probably in the last 10 years, 5 years, that's where jiu-jitsu, a big piece of it has changed. Is you get these strong, just phenomenal athletes that come in, and they haven't been told that gravity exists.
Right. In this matchup right now, we've had pretty much the top position being smothered and locked in place by Alexis Apodaca. She is right up against her corner with Caleb Crump and Valor right there, giving her instructions every step along the way. I like that Katie has started to rotate her feet toward the cage. She could potentially try to use an explosive bridge
or she could
escape herself out. Yeah, exactly. But she's also going to be working with somebody who is experienced and is spatially aware of knowing that cage is also there. And Alexis has a really short torso with long legs and long arms.
Got a little bit of a gift wrap there. And when you're grappling with someone who is so long, you make a big move thinking you're going to get away from the cage a little bit, and you look back and they're still exactly where they wanted to be. They still have the cage to use as leverage, and you're like, how?
Exactly.
Is she going to punch that arm by? Very interested. Oh, I thought she was going to try to punch that.
It's funny how you
by.
mentioned that with the dimensions, A quick story on one of our main event competitors in Josh Fremd. Was rolling with him one time and went to go to elevate a leg on a single X, and I'm at my full extension elevating and getting him up. But keep in mind, Josh is 6'5".
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he's just completely still standing. He's like, it's a tall tree to climb there, right, buddy?
Yep.
So yeah, sometimes you may be technically accurate in what's your setup or what you were doing. But again, that is just dimensionally something that is not available for you.
The
First round of regulation expires. Through one round of regulation, fairly pedestrian in terms of some of the attacks, but strong positional control from Alexis Apodaca in the process. As we go into this intermission,
If we were scoring Apodaca, would be up 1 round to 0 at this point.
Correct.
Based on just cage control dominance.
If you're in Katie's corner, what are you offering her going into this second round of regulation?
You'd want to see her create some separation. I mean, if I'm Katie, I want to see what my top game starts to look like. I know bottom game is difficult because you're trying to climb out from such a large body. If I can float around on the top for a minute, maybe see if I can get a little more leeway there. I mean, it's tough to switch your game up, and you can only play with what you get dealt. But it looked like she didn't have a whole lot of answers from the bottom. So I would say let's move away from that. Let's see what we can do. Let's try to initiate the action and get to the top side. Tie plumb a little bit.
Yeah, and in this instance too, it's just a situation of I think that Katie is gonna have to kind of get a little bit gritty and mean with it, and that's a tough task against Alexis, who is just naturally a very mean athlete when she competes.
And taking nothing away from Katie at all, but when you're a pure jiu-jitsu athlete and you're in a no-gi grappling match against a very seasoned MMA fighter and a person who lives in a cage, you have to find a different element, because pure jiu-jitsu is almost always not going to get you all the way there.
Correct.
Because it's a different game. The MMA fighters who train so much no-gi are always looking to put you in bad positions. That as a jiu-jitsu competitor on the bottom, you know, there's different attacks that you're looking at, but it's just really not. It doesn't translate well in a cage, and it doesn't translate well against someone who trains, for lack of a better word, jiu-jitsu for MMA.
Right. And in that sense, you know, I say that she's got to do something to change up the status quo, to switch up the rhythm and the tempo, and whether it's getting a little bit of aggressive and making it mean, well, what you could potentially do in that process is baiting Alexis into making a mistake.
Sure, give her, like,
you know, give her some aggression.
Block the pass, and then open the door for something that you want.
Right.
You know, show her something 2 or 3 times, and then go a different direction. That's where the jiu-jitsu practitioner comes into play.
Exactly.
As jiu-jitsu for MMA, there's not a lot of hocus pocus that goes on. It's a lot of top pressure. It's a lot of control. Where the jiu-jitsu practitioner comes into it is if they can use a little hocus pocus, a little misdirection, they're way more apt to open a door to get them somewhere. But staying on your hip and working from the bottom is just, I mean, you're not going to create enough action for yourself against someone who's used to being in that position, but also in that position while throwing punches or getting punches thrown at them.
Absolutely, and Alex just so strong in that cradle position.
Yeah.
And what I would say, you know, too, in some is maybe you get a little bit of aggressive, and you, even if they're not there, you shoot some submission attempts, and you bring out the aggressive nature from your opponent subconsciously to make them think, okay, you're attacking, let me get you.
You're going to have to create some scramble situations.
Yes.
Or give them fear that you're dangerous from where you are. If Alex right now feels like she is in no danger from Katie, she's going to work anything she wants. If Katie doesn't throw some things at her that says, oh, if you move like that, I will attack you, then Apodaca can just stay on her game plan the entire way.
Correct.
Apodaca actually reminds me of a local fighter here for a long time and jiu-jitsu competitor Brittany Elkin, in that long body, that really heavy, tough to move from the top situation. Brittany and I trained together for a long, long time, several years, and she's like 6'6'1". And if she, I mean, we fought at the same weight, but she felt like 2 people because it was like I wasn't, you know, I couldn't touch anything.
Yeah, it's tough dimensionally to prepare in that sense, for sure.
Yeah, when you're just trying to like tripod up and post, and they're not even off their knees.
Right.
You're like, oh, thanks.
It makes for a very difficult day. Now, this lockdown that she's employing on this leg, on Alexis's leg inside, that's always an issue to deal with whenever you're talking about the lockdown.
That's what I'm talking about with creating an opportunity somewhere. Create the lockdown on the leg in hopes that she's so concentrated on dealing with that lockdown to get that leg back, she may open up a shoulder lock or something on the top just because you've changed her mind.
Exactly. Or if you can get enough space, you tug out the back with that electric chair sweep, and maybe you're no longer on the bottom. But you've got to create. You've got to get active with the hips and start doing something.
You need some hocus pocus right here. You need some magic. Station to station or fundamental jiu-jitsu is not going to get you there in a match with someone like Alex Apodaca.
This is one thing that I will say and will offer, though, for Alex on the improvement end from some of her past fights and watching. Her wrestling has improved immensely. Some of those exchanges that she had
her scrambles.
There. Yes, her scrambling and her ability just to surf and keep her hips on top, but then also using that cradle series right there whenever Katie was starting to try to create space and trying to find an escape or trying to get underneath, she just went right back to cradle and was able to secure the position. We now move to overtime in the process. We're going to see who takes the back.
So not long ago, I had a very, very long conversation on the podcast with B, and I learned that his coaching style has changed to the point where they don't drill moves. Their training style has changed so much where he just puts them somewhere and you learn from the position.
Kind of that eco style?
Yes. And he has been like really showing results. It's almost like, you know, he's thumbing his nose to the people who said he couldn't do it, because you're seeing people like Alex who really are gaining results. See that?
Alex clearing the leg.
Yeah.
Clears one hook and is able to escape out of the back.
Fully cleared. Oh, you're still
It's
engaged.
still going.
You're
It's still live.
engaged.
It's still live.
No, you're still live.
No, Alex! Alex!
She's like, I don't mind. Gave her the back.
Alex!
Yeah, she did not realize that they were still live in the process.
Get up! Get!
Oh, she just big brother. Oh! Is that what we're going to do, kids?
Strong cross shuck on the way out.
Alex, not phased. It's a Tuesday afternoon.
Look at her face right now. She's like,
Well,
oh,
you saw
oh.
the post to the face by Katie.
Yeah.
Unfazed. Alex completely unfazed by it. Was just like, oh, okay.
It's like,
Okay, that happens.
yeah. Well, there was one that happened earlier in the match, and Katie kind of apologized initially, and Alex was like, no, I'm good.
We're good.
Well, I will say this from a training room standpoint, which, not to reveal too much, but as a woman, she is one of the hardest hitting females that I've ever been around or have seen through the years in the gym. And it's not that she tries.
Just say the hardest you've ever been hit by a woman was by Alex.
No, the hardest was by Cody Brundage's wife, Bobby.
Oh, Bobby.
Bobby,
If she sits on a cross,
Bobby
you're
sits
in
on a
trouble.
cross. That is problems.
Yeah.
But up that same vein is, just something like, again, it's not that she is really trying to be heavy with it, but if you take a look at the optics, as you mentioned, she's a tall woman, but also at that, if you see like her hand size, her hands are like canned hams.
Oh.
I mean, she has giant fists. So when she hits, it's bigger than, like imagine. She has a bigger fist than both of us, Trevor. I'm pretty sure she wears like a larger XL glove. In MMA gloves.
No.
Like, look at those paws right there. Imagine that thing just coming right over the top and landing on that brow.
Yeah.
And we'll have that official decision here in
I
just a
wish I
moment.
was even relatively similar in size to her at some point in my life. And the referee's decision.
Good job, Alex!
Any additional shout-outs or reparation